Data is always moving. How people think, feel, and behave change constantly, so our understanding needs to shift too, continuously evolving to keep you ahead. Inquiro is your window to entire audience landscapes and deeper consumer understanding, giving you quick insights, giving you actionable insights, giving you real-time insights on demand. It's a powerful platform that enriches your mastery of the market. The 360 Intelligence Dashboard and Audience Builder lets you explore a holistic overview and hone in on a specific audience. With the Credibility Scoring API, you can unlock your consumers' behavior through omni-channel touchpoints and measure their overall trustworthiness. Access insights into the Philippine population with precise market analytics using MarketScan. Beyond deepening your understanding, Inquiro amplifies your growth. Widen your scope, tap into countless profiles, and multiply your reach using Acquisition Suite. With Inquiro, you have a secure, easy-to-use platform. One platform, unlimited reach. One platform, all the answers. One platform, multiple insights. Learn more at info@inquiro.ph.
One business takes on many challenges. But when they're beyond what one can solve, it'll take more. Each one pitching in to form seamlessly linked solutions. And with a partner to innovate and collaborate, we can create better experiences than we ever could alone, to become more valued than we'd ever be on our own. Because there's nothing greater than working as one to make an impact in people's lives. Redefine our greatness. Globe Business.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisitil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bangaw, ay hinagang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin, luha ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Data is always moving. How people think, feel, and behave change constantly, so our understanding needs to shift too, continuously evolving to keep you ahead. Inquiro is your window to entire audience landscapes and deeper consumer understanding, giving you quick insights, giving you actionable insights, giving you real time insights on demand. It's a powerful platform that enriches your mastery of the market. The 360 Intelligence Dashboard and Audience Builder lets you explore a holistic overview and hone in on a specific audience. With the Credibility Scoring API, you can unlock your consumers' behavior through omni-channel touchpoints and measure their overall trustworthiness. Access insights into the Philippine population with precise market analytics using MarketScan. Beyond deepening your understanding, Inquiro amplifies your growth. Widen your scope, tap into countless profiles, and multiply your reach using Acquisition Suite. With Inquiro, you have a secure, easy-to-use platform. One platform, unlimited reach. One platform, all the answers. One platform, multiple insights. Learn more at info@inquiro.ph.
One business takes on many challenges. But when they're beyond what one can solve, it'll take more. Each one pitching in to form seamlessly linked solutions. And with a partner to innovate and collaborate, we can create better experiences than we ever could alone, to become more valued than we'd ever be on our own. Because there's nothing greater than working as one to make an impact in people's lives. Redefine our greatness. Globe Business.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Liveable Cities Lab. This is our second lab for this year and our 45th lab overall, and made possible through our partnership with the League of Cities of the Philippines and Globe Telecom. So, we have an interesting topic today, and I think something that's going to be uh, studied by more and more cities in the new year ahead, 12 months out from now. But I'm talking about artificial intelligence. AI represents a groundbreaking technology that offers governments myriad opportunities to elevate public services and streamline internal operations. By harnessing the power of data collection, analysis, and the integration of innovative technologies, cities gain deeper insights into their most pressing challenges. This enables them to optimize public service delivery, allocate resources more effectively, enhance decision making processes, and gain a holistic understanding of citizen behavior. But I must say, AI is not going to be the magic pill or the silver bullet that will solve all your problems because it will not be of much use if we are not good at collecting quality data consistently over time. I want to stress that. You need quality data consistently collected over time. So, despite its transformative potential, the effective integration of artificial intelligence poses significant challenges. The overarching question remains, how prepared are our local governments, especially cities, to embrace AI and harness its potential to enhance public service? So, in today's lab, we will explore successful case studies that illustrate how AI has revolutionized our cities. We'll take a deep dive into the strategies, methods, and solutions that made these implementations successful. Now, we're going to feature two notable efforts. One is called Project Minerva, led by the Asian Institute of Management, AIM, to transform urban development in Baguio City. So, this is a partnership between AIM and Baguio City. And we're going to be able to feature later on Mayor Benji Magalong, who will speak about how he got started, what he learned, and what he might do differently if he had a chance to do it all over again. And what are the things he would do and not do. Our second project is Project Paturo, a collaboration between AIM and the local government of Kawayan City in Isabela. And it aimed to create a comprehensive index reflecting the dynamic elements of a city, such as its population, infrastructure, and economic activities. Now, unfortunately, Mayor JCD of Kawayan City, who was confirmed to attend the session with us, was suddenly called away to an important meeting with the president and is unable to join us. So we're going to have to say, well, Chris Monterola, our speaker from AIM, will maybe mention a thing or two about Kawayan. We hope to get Mayor D back into a future session to, dig deeper into the details. And finally, we will also feature Inquiro, their innovative solutions and in technologies that showcase AI for cities. Inquiro is part of Globe Group, and we'd like to feature what solutions and technologies they have that may be useful for cities. So we're going to have a really great panel of speakers today. We're going to open with Miss Jeneline Libut of Inquiro, Jenny as we call her. Uh, and then she will be followed by Dr. Chris Monterola of the Aboitiz School of Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship of the Asian Institute of Management. And Chris has been speaking with uh, Livable Cities on several occasions, and it's always been a treat to be able to listen to what Chris has to say about AI and its use in cities. And then finally, we will have Mayor Benji Magalong of Baguio City. Uh, he's the one who has really deployed AI in his city. So right now, we're talking of two cities, Baguio and Kawayan City. But I'm hoping and quite I'm expecting that over the next year, more and more cities will be joining these two and applying AI in their cities once they begin to see the benefits that both Baguio and Kawayan City were able to reap from their early foray into AI. So, to kick off our lab, let me introduce you to our first speaker, Miss Jeneline Libut, presenting Mr. Senthil Kumar, who unfortunately cannot join today's lab. Jenny has 18 years of experience in IT and leadership expertise, leads as data analytics head at Inquiro, specializing in delivering actionable insights through BI powered products. Her proficiency in directing projects, resource allocation, and team management ensures timely and budget friendly execution. Passionate about both data and people, she advocates continuous improvement, driving Inquiro's progress through data optimization and strategic support. So let's explore Jenny's insights on enhancing city strategies through her expertise in customer data services and analytics solutions. So let's all please welcome Jeneline Libut from Inquiro. Jenny, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jandeline Libut, Data Analytics Head of Inquiro, and I'm here to share how Inquiro can help local government units to make data-driven decisions. Okay. So Inquiro is a company under the Globe Group focusing on marketing and advertising technologies. We have a broad collection of data from different sources. We have millions of unique customer profiles in our database that you will be able to reach using either a mobile advertising ID or their mobile numbers. Each individual profile has 600 plus unique attributes and data points. At Inquiro, machine learning is fundamental to the core of what we do. While artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems, machine learning is a technique for achieving AI. It is the practice of using algorithms to review data, learn from it, then make predictions or decisions rather than being explicitly programmed to perform a particular task. AI can be used for recognition, detection, forecasting, personalization, and recommendation, to name a few of the use cases. Inquiro largely focuses on personalization, given our access to consumer data. Inquiro uses machine learning algorithms to create and optimize our data products and the profiles that we have. For instance, we use ML to recognize patterns in consumer behavior, enabling us to create alternative scoring solutions. Also, by identifying patterns in a data set, we were able to predict unseen data, enabling us to fill missing data on our database to form a holistic view of our profiles. Lastly, we use MLs to group datasets and identify which profiles is a lookalike of another set of profiles. Inquiro solution and services can support local government units to better serve the communities in terms of promoting local businesses, driving local investments, addressing urban challenges, growing domestic tourism, and lastly, but most importantly, building intelligent and resilient cities. Inquiro's data-driven products can help drive customers to local businesses in a smarter and more efficient way by having access to custom reports, gaining audience insights, and expanding the business's customer base. With their custom reports on growing market trends, businesses can identify opportune areas for growth. Inquiro's digital and spatial data can be utilized to extract custom insights on specific target markets. We cover trends on online banking, online shopping, transportation, connectivity, and others. In the case of local governments, units, we can use this information to roll out digitalization programs, for example. A lot of cities, being Baguio City as the first, has adopted already the Paleng QR system of Bangko Sentral. But for those that haven't yet, we can help by identifying areas within the cities where residents are already doing online transactions, making this shift towards the cashless payments frictionless. Local businesses can also gain insights from their population. So SMEs can gather data from their customers, and then given this data, Inquiro can help businesses know more about their customers and learn on how to cater to them. For example, a bookstore in Puerto Princesa, this is a hypothetical example, has a majority of its customers also interested in K-pop, let's say. The bookstore can then run a promo in line with an upcoming event to boost sales by leveraging the insight into their customers' interest. Another example is a coffee shop, let's say in Baguio. Might be surprised to know that most of their customers are coming from the older generation. A campaign specifically worded to cater to this demographic profile is key to success, customer turnout, and retention. Lastly, Inquiro's data can be used to help the local businesses expand their customer base and reach the right audience through data-driven acquisition strategies. So this reduces advertisement cost by targeting the right audience at the right time and at the right place, identifying seasonality of the business, improving customer experience by knowing their interests, purchase behavior, and persona. For example, let's say it was found that the most loyal customers of a given business is around 20 to 24, living under 1 kilometer from the store location. We can use this information to send advertisements to people with the same attributes that are not yet part of the local business's customer base. Using Inquiro's digital and physical trend reports, LGUs will be able to identify investment opportunities based on people turnout or workforce availability, an area's economic potential, and financial capability of the profiles in the area. Location data can help identify areas with high population density for market expansion, site selection, or investment opportunities. On people turnout or workforce availability, a local government might want to partner, let's say, to a private company in order to modernize their coffee production. These LGU, using Inquiro data, can have access to up-to-date information on availability of young workers looking for jobs. As an extra, we can look for workers that are also coffee lovers. We can help map out areas in the city with highest economic potential based on behavior of the population in that area. For instance, if local investments in a certain city hinge on the younger population, Inquiro data can help complement national and local census efforts to identify the demographic landscape on certain areas of the city. Lastly, Inquiro's data can help promote financial inclusion by serving the banked and underbanked Filipinos with alternative scoring solutions. Businesses, especially those involved in credit payments or selling high-ticket products, would always prefer profiles that have access to banks. Unfortunately, this is not true for some Filipinos. Therefore, an alternative credit scoring solution will be useful in this regard. Data insights can be applied for a more informed and improved local initiatives. So we can use origin destination data to supplement pathing data, leverage on dynamic demographic and behavioral data, and map out footfall traffic information. So in terms of the origin destination data, it can help local units analyze travel patterns as well as optimize travel flows for urban planning or traffic management projects. Inquiro did a case study on student migration in Baguio for 2022. We found that May to June and August to September had the highest migration numbers. This makes sense given that Baguio has a lot of students coming in and out of the city between these months. This can be done by other LGUs. Similar study can be done by other LGUs to analyze movement patterns within the city or those that are going in or coming out of the city. Given the current jeepney modernization program, it includes rerouting of jeepney operations. This will also give tremendous value in planning for traffic flows throughout the jeepney modernization process. The dynamic demographic and behavioral data can also supplement, as mentioned earlier, the national and local government efforts in terms of collecting data in the population or within the city. And then lastly, access to up-to-date footfall traffic monitoring will enable the LGU to optimize travel flow. Next area of interest is on tourism. So we will be able to attract tourists more effectively using location data. So we can identify tourism distribution so that we can promote underrated tourist area using location data. We can also analyze origin destination to determine where your visitors are traveling from. And lastly, see patterns of seasonality and customer profiles who are visitors of the city. So in terms of analyzing foot traffic to identify the tourism distribution, you can gain insight into the visitor behavior in your city, which can help you understand visitor preferences and tailor the tourism efforts towards this. So this can also help project tourism load with seasonality and create policies or guidelines that prevent from overloading tourism spots, which leads to environmental concerns. So we wanna balance the tourism goals with ecological preservation at its core. In terms of origin destination of popular locations, so we will be able to determine where your visitors are traveling from. So we can use this insight to create targeted campaigns to attract more visitors to the city. and encourage domestic tourism. Once inside the city, you can use origin destination to improve public transportation between those places. For example, in 2022, there was a DOT report that Baguio received over 1 million overnight travelers, 99.7% of which are domestic. This number is 85.4% for Puerto Princesa and 94.3% for Kawayan City. So this does not include the data where these people come from and where exactly in the city they went to. So Inquiro can help bridge the gap and provide a more holistic view of the city's target demographic. Coupled with seasonality data, LGUs can accommodate the increased demand of tourists, going from, let's say, Puerto Princesa to El Nido and Coron, and then bus routes can be added between hotels and Airbnbs and tourist spots to effectively move people around the city and avoid gridlock of having so many private cars. This will also provide tourists with cheaper alternatives and improve their experience. By looking at footfall traffic reports, we can also include the locations pattern of seasonality and customer profiles that were observed in that area. So understanding the key demographic composition, interests, and behavior of the visitors will sharpen the marketing efforts and promotions. Through historical data also, we can determine if there is a seasonality when it comes to visitor traffic or if it's consistent all throughout the year. Now, lastly, but most importantly, Inquiro can help in building intelligent and resilient cities by facilitating timely and personalized interactions with your community. So in terms of disaster and risk awareness, we can help look into profiles that are seen closely or frequently into disaster-prone areas. So we can then help the LGU in terms of broadcasting advisories or sending warnings to these people so that they are not in the area when there is a projected, let's say, a landslide or a typhoon. Second help is generating more awareness for local government programs. So with the recent COVID-19 pandemic, Inquiro can help cities track citizen movement if people are adhering to or avoiding highly dense areas. So this is aggregated. LGUs can work together to compare the mobility and what kinds of policies work in keeping these people from avoiding crowded places. LGU can also find people in susceptible areas, elderly, parents with kids, and prioritize notifying them for vaccination rollouts. Lastly, in order to mitigate road congestion and help commuters plan their routes, Inquiro can help in sending out road advisories if there is a given list of upcoming road projects and improvements in the cities. LGU can provide a heads-up advisory to known commuters who pass along these roads where the repairs are ongoing. So this will help them, the people in that area, to plan ahead or reschedule their trip altogether, leading to improved traffic flow. As a key takeaway, so AI has become a buzzword. So the question right now is to AI or not to AI. So AI is neither good nor bad. It's how we use it that makes it good or bad. So in the age of AI and ML, we need to effectively harness the power of data to own the future today. Make more informed decisions and convert data-driven insights into action. Design better solutions to address the unique challenges facing our communities today, and unlock new opportunities for innovation and growth. And that ends my presentation. Yeah, so if you are interested in the solutions that we presented, you can scan the QR code so Globe Business Account Managers will be able to reach you.
Okay, Jenny, thanks. And please keep your QR code up on the screen a little longer. But
Sure.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for the presentation, Jenny. Interesting stuff. I have some questions in mind for you already during the Q&A. Um,
Or
and one question I will ask you is, what's the I can understand all your ability to track the data, uh, but I'm sure you have a very simple answer as to the source and reliability of all those data points.
yep,
I'll get back to you when we get to the Q&A session. But thanks uh, so much, because I think you have kind of given us some really nice use cases that are going to be useful for LGUs as they are useful for businesses alike. No. Okay, so we'll get back to you later. So our
thank
next
you very much
speaker,
for having us.
yeah, thank you, Jenny. So uh, our next speaker is also one of our favorites here on Livable Cities. I believe this will be maybe the third time we're going to have him on board in a related program of Livable Cities or the City Municipality Competitiveness Index of DTI. And I'm referring here to Dr. Christopher Monterola. So, Chris is a distinguished professor and data scientist, and he currently serves as the Aboitiz Chair in Data Science and head of the Aboitiz School of Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship, or ASITE, as it's known as ASITE. Uh, Chris also has a decade of experience as a senior scientist and capability group manager at the Institute of High Performance Computing in A Star, Singapore. And this is very interesting because it turns out that Chris and a whole bunch of other Filipinos were working on making Singapore a smart city and a smart nation. I think he's going to be able to show us what exactly happened there. But we're very happy that AIM was able to persuade Chris and his team to come back and do some work for the Philippines. And I think when you get to see the work that he's done, it's going to be, you're going to get excited. He's received numerous awards for his innovative work, including the Country Prize in the United Nations Global Pulses, the Big Ideas competition for sustainable cities and urban communities in 2016, as well as the SMRT Most Innovative Solution Award in the same year. He's done really exceptional work, and he's been actually named an academician by the National Academy of Science and Technology. So, for those of you who are not so familiar with NAST, this is like becoming the national artist equivalent of an academic, of a scientist. So, this is a very high position and honor. And so, I'm happy, and thank you, Chris, for doing this once again. I'm happy we're going to be able to discuss great cities of the future using AI and data analytics. And I hope you will give us examples of your work in Kawayan and Baguio and Singapore and other places, including Metro Manila, because we need to see as many use cases and applications of AI and data science and analytics for LGU. So, Chris, take it away, and thank you very much in advance for joining us.
Thank you so much, Bill. My pleasure always to be part of the Livable Cities program. And yes, to all of those who are watching us today, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. And the title of my presentation is Creating Cities of the Future. How come we use data science and AI to understand the science of urbanization? My presentation for today will be as follows. Allow me to share my screen. Have I shared my screen? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay then. Bill, can you verify that you guys can see my screen now?
Oh, I can see it now. Yes, go ahead.
Is it in the full screen mode? Presentation mode?
Yep, full screen mode. Absolutely.
Okay then. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So again, this is the title of my presentation, Creating Cities of the Future, Understanding the Science of Urbanization Through Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. And as Bill pointed out, the main idea, the bulk of my presentation will be presenting 10 use cases from the different cities in the Philippines, specifically Kawayan and Baguio. and some use cases from Singapore, maybe 3 use cases from Singapore, and the other will be use cases from the Philippines. But before I do and go to that one, allow me to first give you an idea why do we need to understand urbanization. I think Bill will also talk about this in a while. Why data and AI and why it is the most critical tool right now. What are the challenges in urban design? And then this important question, can we actually forecast urban dynamics knowing that people is at the center of urbanization and people are predictably irrational? And finally, my use cases will be talking about the possibility of us managing the complexity of urbanization. Do we use the data and the AI to actually improve the lives of the cities, including Singapore that we work with previously? So the first question that I would like to ask is, why do we want to understand urbanization? And I suppose most of those who are joining us today, they have an idea why this is the case. First off, we expect, I made a plot of the total number or percent of the population versus urban and rural areas historically, and you'll see that it fits very well with a linear plot. And this simple linear plot, you can see that by 2050, 70% of the world's population, or about 6.3 billion, will be living in cities. So there's nothing that we can do about this natural tendency of people to go into cities because there is where the opportunities lies. And by 2100, by the turn of the 21st century, 22nd century, we expect that almost everyone will be living in cities. Cities are critical because since the beginning of time, cities have been the building blocks of the cultural revolution and economy. Education and industrialization happen in cities. And the total urban populations generally have a positive effect on this very easily measured metric known as Human Development Index. So if you're living in cities, your HDI most likely is higher than your counterpart in rural areas. Human Development Index measures three very important, very simple things in one city. That includes the lifespan, how long before you die. Second will be the average earnings per capita of the adult population, how much you are earning in general. And the third one will be the number of years that you've spent studying. So the number of years that you're being educated. Now, I plotted the HDI or the Human Development Index from 1990 to 2020 plus. And you can see here that the good news is that overall, this Human Development Index is increasing and improving. But the problem is, you will see here also that if you look at the regions, different regions, the inequality persists. If you approximate, for example, the lowest and the highest value of the HDI index in this graph, you will see that the difference in 1990 is almost the same as that of 2020. Visayas average and the HDI, for example, is almost similar to that of the National Capital Region or Metro Manila 2 decades ago or 1 generation ago. The average HDI in Mindanao is worse, more than a generation compare. So, but go back 24 years ago, and that will be the average Human Development Index in Mindanao. And one of the more compelling reason here why we really need to understand the science of cities and urbanization is the case of BARM and the ARM region. It is even lower than the quality of life of the national average 30 years ago. So imagine your life 30 years ago here in Metro Manila, if you're residing in Metro Manila, and BARM, most likely their life there is worse currently than here in Metro Manila. And if I look at the four most important issues that are all related to urbanization that we are actually suffering right now, the first of which will be undernutrition or malnutrition. 29% of our population below the age of 5 are all undernourished. Now, this will result to stunted growth. Pinanganak ka pa lang, may problema na. And in studies have shown that this translates to a 22 to 52% reduction in potential to earn as an adult. Pag hindi lumaki ang utak mo, talo ka sa isang competitive na mundo. Second thing is, there are about 52 to 58% of Filipino households who do not have a water pipe directly into their dwellings. That is, about 7 to 10 million Filipinos are compromised health-wise due to unsafe water. Most of the diseases right now, a good portion of which annually is because of bad water. No? Sa Baguio po, nagkaroon ng, kahit na ganun kagaling ang Baguio, nagkaroon pa rin ng epidemic, for example, ng gastroenteritis at diarrhea dahil sa tubig. And 4.5 million Filipinos are homeless, and this is one of the problem always of urbanization. Majority of that, 3 million of that 4.5 Filipinos are in urban areas, specifically in Metro Manila. And 20 million Filipinos live in slums, or 1/10 in Manila. And another thing that is very important, again, urbanization tends to solve this in general. 15% did not complete in elementary overall. So note that every 1 year of education adds 10% to your salary if you're an adult. So ito lang po yung ilan sa mga concerns that we have. And normally, a good portion of the problems here can be solved by proper urbanization. And I also want to show this result, no? And I guess this is very important because my goal here is to demonstrate how AI and data science in general can eventually help us look at these problems with the proper mindset and proper perspective. If I look at the amount of HDI improved by the government is spending in the last 30 years, you will see here that the amount that you will get by spending more in the National Capital Region to HDI is now actually negligible compared to all the other regions. And I did a simple simulation here and show that if the GAA will be allotted inversely proportional to the Human Development Index of that specific region or municipality, we can actually accelerate the HDI development of all cities, lower the inequality, and at the same time not compromise the increasingly and the improvement in regions like Metro Manila, for example. So this is a win-win situation in general. And again, nakita po natin dito that this is actually a good portion of which is driven by data and machine learning and AI. So why do we want to use data science and AI, and why is this now? The short answer is because people are the center of urbanization, and human minds, unfortunately, do not easily capture human behaviors, mainly because human minds are very biased. We are very biased on the things, our culture, and the things that we are accustomed to. But because of data science, because of the data that we now have a better understanding how people are generally connected. You are seeing here Facebook, and you will see how you are connected to the rest of the world. We know how people interact with existing institutions. You are seeing in this graph the withdrawal in Barcelona, ATMs, and this actually corresponds to wealth and the movement of people in general, the movement of wealth. So we know how people are connected. We know how we are interacting with existing institutions. We know how people are moving. So we can track the movement of people. And because we can do this, we have a better understanding of the propagation of diseases, even gossip. No? Kung nangyari po ang COVID-19 epidemic nung time ng 16th, 17th century, and we don't have this technology yet, most likely wipe out ang population. COVID-19, in terms of how fast it can spread and how potent the COVID-19 virus is way, way more dangerous compared to the bubonic plague, okay, that caused the Renaissance period, killing almost 1/3 of the population in Europe. And these are the important reasons. Okay, with the right tools in overall, data and AI can provide us with better understanding of the nature of humans, their daily needs, their habits, their aspirations and struggles. And these are the most critical component when you want to understand urbanization. The third thing that I want to answer is now, what are the challenges in urban design? What are the challenges in trying to understand urbanization? And the short answer is that urbanization, okay, and the jargon for this is this, no? It is a complex adaptive system. What does it mean? The meaning of a complex adaptive systems. They are a complex systems. They are highly interacting. Every component of a city interact with all other components. So collecting data is not sufficient. You need to understand the relationship, the causality of this data. And that relationship in general is non-linear. Most of the things that we learn in school assumes a linear behavior. Even yung mga natandaan nyo po sa mga technical dito na understand the concept of Granger causality, mga technical na term, nag-a-assume pa rin siya ng linear behavior. It will not be able to handle the presence of emergent behavior. Emergent behavior is the idea of self-organization. And normally this arises because of the nonlinear interactions of the different moving components, especially people. So it is a complex adaptive system. The whole is not just more, but completely different from the sum of its parts. So the sum of the parts cannot be predicted by simply looking at the demographic of the different players, the different citizen in a given in a given locality. It doesn't go into equilibrium. It is in the constant state of equilibrium, non-equilibrium. While most of the things that we learned before will always go to the equilibrium, ang city po hindi talaga siya pumupunta sa isang equilibrium. Kaya critical dito na maintindihan natin siya through artificial intelligence and machine learning. And self-organization, okay? Even physics, I'm a physicist by training. The ability of people to learn and adapt, the ability of people to form networks, these are things that you will not be able to see in physical principles, in the laws of motion of Newton, in the theory of relativity of Einstein, etc. Just to give you an illustration of this, okay, this for those in Metro Manila, you are familiar with the city of Makati, Pasig, and Taguig, for instance. And if I do network science, a perspective science, I use the science of network to understand where will the traffic be, given the number of people that are living in that particular city. The circle area here will be supposedly should be the traffic congestion points. But in reality, hindi po yan ang mga traffic congestion points. And you will only know where the actual traffic congestion points will happen if you actually look at the entire network, not just the isolated network of Makati, Taguig, and Pasig. So most important lesson here is that we need, as much as possible, to understand the dynamics of a city. Look at all the factors and the behaviors that actually define the dynamics of that particular city. And what are the things that are missing in conventional perspectives, and why do you need an artificial intelligence in data to do this? The first one, and this is the most critical one, we always assume things can be defined by the so-called mean or average. And lahat ng policy po natin is based on mean and average. But in reality, most interactions drive many real-world systems that is within the Pareto rule, meaning only a very small percentage of product or population defines the dynamics of the entire thing. So you are looking here at the bell curve, which you assume normally will be what will be the distribution of something. What will be the distribution of the poor versus non-poor, etc. We are assuming that it will fit into this bell curve, but in reality, it is not. In the Philippines, for example, only 1% family controls 80% of the wealth. So that is definitely something that will not fit in bell curve. Ang tawag po dito is Pareto law or power law distribution. And the thing with power law distribution, at ganito yung karamihan ng mga nakikita natin sa cities, they do not, the word average or mean do not have any meaning. Wala pong meaning ang mean. Wala pong meaning ang average. And second, and this is a very important thing too, the dynamics of urbanization in lower to middle income countries are different from high income countries. We have done a lot of publications in Singapore, in Northern American cities, in Switzerland, etc. And the movement of people in those locations, you don't need too much data to understand that. Ang kailangan mo lang ay konting science that is referred to as the radiation model. If you understand where the locations of the opportunities are, nasaan ang employment, within a very good accuracy, you will be able to forecast how people will be moving. But our results indicates that in the Philippine setting, and this is this is actually a good portion of this was sponsored by the Ayala Group, we were able to demonstrate that in the Philippine settings, you need to understand other factors that can be captured by the open by amenities. No, factors like I will go to this place because this is aligned with my religion. I will go to this place because my relatives are in this particular area. No, those are not captured by the so-called radiation model, which only looks for opportunities and at the same time how attractive that particular city is compared to its neighboring cities. So ito po yung dalawang context, no? Number one, mali yung normal na statistical assumption natin, and pangalawa, yung context. So the question now is, can urban dynamics be predicted? And the answer here, my answer here is yes to some extent. And allow me to give you a perspective. This is the general idea of creating cities of the future. This is like making the best fake metropolis. And if you ask me, can this be predicted? That has always been one of the biggest questions in cities. Can a good practice in one city be replicated in another city? Nung tiningnan po namin ng literature about 10 years ago, walang masyadong ganong literature. So we will go back to the fundamentals and allow me to demonstrate this simulation. Emergence of cities, how cities in general emerges. No? And we're able to demonstrate that this is also true in the Philippines, in Kawayan, in Baguio, etc. Simple lang po ang simulation na to. Kailangan ko lang ng isang point, center, kung saan nagsimula ang urbanization ng isang area or isang city. And with a good accuracy and good statistics, I will be able to forecast or predict through proper science where will the industrial area, where will the residential area and commercial areas actually be located. So you are seeing at the upper box, ang simulation namin, isang point lang po yan, no? Isang point lang yan. Ang main na dynamics lamang nito, in general, is that you try to maximize the resources, but there is also safety in numbers. Gusto mo, pag magkakasama kayo, may safety sa gano'n. No? Yung dalawang dynamics lang na yun. And we were able to replicate in general the statistics of Singapore. The actual geographic statistics of where the commercial, business, and industrial areas are located. So you can see the consistency of the different simulations with that of Singapore, where the red one here is the industrial area isolated from the commercial and the residential area. We check if this same formula, the 1 point, I don't need too many data, but if I understand the proper science, 1 point, can I forecast, for example, the growth of the Northern American cities like New York, Seattle, Toronto, Houston, San Francisco, etc.? And the result is that the model is quite robust and generally captures the pictures of other cities, including, for example, Kawayan, Isabela. And one of the things that we can see here is that may natural tendency ang mga cities. That the residential areas, for example, will be 1/10 in size compared to that of business area, and the business area will be 1/10 in size compared to the industrial areas. Kapag hindi po na-respect ang ratio na to, chances are that business area will eventually collapse. That industrial area will go into bankruptcy. No? So yung ganong klase ng natural tendency, this is one of the most important things that we need to know if we want to understand urbanization. So then the last question is, can we manage the complexity of urbanization? And I will be showing you 10 cases, 10 successful cases on how we were able to do this in different cities. So let me start with maybe the 3 cases that I will be showing will be some of the things that we've done in Singapore. No? And allow me to demonstrate to you what is the initial problem and how we were able to create a platform that is useful for the citizen and the government in this part of the world. So again, I want to emphasize that the most important thing is to understand the natural tendencies of people. And this is the most critical thing in managing urbanization. One of the problems that we're asked to do is to understand how people will choose in Singapore, choose the route from one area to another area if they're inside the train station. Now, the thing is, the only data that they have will be the top in and the top out. You don't know actually which train station they actually use while inside the platform. So you can choose green to red. You can choose green, then move to orange, and then go back to red. Or you can choose green, then go to violet and red. So these are the different routes that you can have. No? And one of the things that we realize is that while most model in the literature will tell you that the movement of people is essentially defined by the fastest time that they can go from one area to another, one of the things that we realize is that they value significantly convenience. Ito po ang isang actual mga stations ito na napakita namin. If you use, for example, the green line in this demo, from point G to point I, your goal is to go from point G to point I, it will take you 34 minutes to go with something which has one transfer, and the more convenient route, which is zero transfer, will be 48 minutes, which is 40% longer than the one transfer. Still, 30% of the population will choose the one with zero transfer because of convenience. And one station down, this is just about 3 minutes down, such that the change in time between the fastest route with 2 transfers and the 0 transfers will now be just 7 minutes. 90% now eventually will go to the 0 transfer, or will choose the more convenient route. No? So here, one of the things that I would like to emphasize is the natural tendency of people na hindi lamang siya nagmamadali, iniisip niya rin kung saan siya magiging masaya pag nagta-travel siya. At ang gusto natin dito, ma-distribute natin yung mga tao sa iba't ibang area para the platform will have mas magiging okay ang kanilang stress na mararamdaman. So these are some of the things that we've learned in Singapore by looking at the data, that people do not necessarily go to the shortest route, especially pag pauwi ka ng gabi. Very few stations are actually being used. Meron pong power law talaga na nakikita. May peak sa umaga, may peak sa gabi, etc. And because of this, if you understand all of this, these are just some of the tools that you can develop immediately, no, through data and AI. So this is something that is being used by the Ministry of Transport in Singapore and the Land Transport Authority, and makikita rin niyo po ito sa iba't ibang areas sa Singapore. Immediately, it is possible for you to understand the accessibility of every area. No, you can choose one area and you'll know how long it will take you to go from that point to another point. And because of this, clear kung alin ang mga area na compromise ang accessibility that the government can actually prioritize. At the heart of the system that we develop for the Singapore government is the simulations of their entire traffic system. You can see here the trains, the buses. You can click on any area. You will see the dot there are the people getting out and going inside the platform. You can click at any point and you will know how many people are waiting in the top platform, how many are tapping in and tapping out, how many commuters are in the station, what is the waiting time, for example, at Raffles Place before you'll be able to get a train, and how full the trains are at any point in time. Similarly, ganun din yung mga buses. At dinikit na rin namin ito eventually sa mga taxis at mga private vehicles. But one of the more important thing that AI can actually do, and proper understanding of the model will allow you to do, is if I do, for example, disruption in Clementi. Again, it is a complex system. This disruption will be felt all the way to 10 kilometers far from where the disruption happened. And if you can understand and make that forecast, alam mo, if you're the government, kung saan mo ilalagay yung mga sakyan that will allow you to ease the congestion at any point in time. No? So, I will fast forward in the interest of time. Makikita rin nyo po dito yung bus, trains, etc. And some of the things that you can do if you have a proper working model includes the following. No? When we did the modeling here, there are about 2.1 million commuters daily in Singapore. And they want to grow and they want to make public transport as the choice mode from 2.1, increase it to 2.8 million. They ask us this question: what will happen to the commuters who are using this if the total number of commuters becomes 2.8 million? And our forecast is that there will be an exponential increase in those who will be missing trains, and there will be the total missed train events will be way higher. No? So we can forecast this with good accuracy. And this is another thing that they ask us to do. We want to remove the peak, the congestions in the morning. Can you help us understand how can we remove this congestion? So what they did is actually to give a voucher to those who will be traveling in the morning. At sabi nila, kapag nag-travel ka ng mas maaga or mas late, free ang travel mo. But they ask us this question: how many percent of the population should we be able to move from traveling in the peak hours to the off-peak hours so that we will get our intended result? Kasi otherwise, mangyayari, mag-shift lang yung peak. No? Magiging alimbawa, 6 a.m. ang peak kaysa dating 8 a.m. So we forecasted that we need about 20% of the population to go into that. And that will happen behaviorally if we allow this voucher to persist for about a year, actually 13 months. No? So those are the numbers that AI and data science can give you a good prediction better than gut feel. And you can evaluate the impact of urban development. One of the things that is very important to note is that we are generally predictable. Ang daily habits natin are very predictable. For example, you are seeing here our prediction to the number of individuals who will be riding one specific station, one specific train, by looking at and using the data 500 meters away, the amenities 500 meters away from that MRT. And you'll see here a very accurate forecast kung ilan ang mga tao na sasakay sa train or sa MRT at that particular area, no? By looking at the amenities, number of hospitals, coffee shops, etc. na nandoon sa area na yon. And with that, you can do a lot of scenario modeling, including, for example, they want to create twin cities, and they ask us this question: if we create these twin cities in the Jurong area, which is about 10 kilometers away from Raffles Place, 10 to 15 kilometers away from Raffles Place, where the CBD right now in Singapore is, okay, we can make a forecast of how will this impact, for example, transportation, the number of daily commuters, and what is the magic number of the increase in amenities before we start seeing decrease in the traffic condition. You expect that eventually the total traffic will decrease if there are so many amenities, kasi kapag may naggawa ng McDonald's sa tabi mo, hindi mo na kailangan mag-travel, no? So mababawasan ang magta-travel. And one of the most critical component also in Singapore is energy, because they don't really produce their own energy. So here we've shown that, and one of the most critical component in energy consumption is actually the temperature. Every 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature corresponds to 5% increase in energy consumption, especially in the air conditioning unit. So here, makikita natin na we can actually forecast how to design, okay, a specific city, saan natin lalagay ang mga puno, gaano karami ang greeneries natin para ma-maintain natin ang temperature to within this level. And this is especially true right now kasi nagre-range ng 38 to 43 Celsius ang temperature dito sa Metro Manila. Mabuti sa Baguio, I was there just few days ago. The temperature kahit sa tanghali is 26 degrees Celsius pa rin. Or questions regarding water level prediction, no? So March 2019, 8% of the population in Metro Manila, that is 8% of the 14 million, or about 800,000, experienced water shortage, and mainly because we failed to forecast the level of Angat Dam that supplies 90% of potable water in Metro Manila. So using AI, we can actually forecast. This is in collaboration with Manila Water. We can forecast with very good accuracy what will be the water level in Angat Dam a year to the future. So why it is important that you can forecast it 1 year in advance? Main idea is because you can do intervention if you can do that forecast. Meron sila before namin ginawa ito na they can forecast 2 weeks in advance, but you cannot do so much intervention kung 2 weeks lang. Now, the magic number for Manila Water is 180 meters. If there's too much water and there's additional rain, it can cause flash floods dahil kailangan mo mag-release ng water to maintain the dam integrity. But if there's no rain, okay, at nandoon ka sa summer season, it can cause water shortage. That is exactly what happened in March 2019. And okay, very quickly, allow me then to show some of the results in the projects that was mentioned by Bill. Now, Paturo, this is our first smart city project in Kawayan, Isabela, and Minerva with Mayor Magalong, where we actually had the turnover ceremony 2 days ago. So we have developed AI-powered decision support tools with visualization dashboards and created city indices for cities in the that is specifically tailored for cities in the Philippine setting. So the general idea is that to create this intelligent cities, kailangan mo ng technology, sensors, applications, katulad ng pinakita ng Inquiro. But the third component is understand what is the metric that you need to monitor. Build that particular metric. And unfortunately, most of the metric that is being used by first world countries, by high-income economies, they are not immediately applicable to a lower and middle-income like the Philippines. Ginawa po namin, nagki-create kami ng iba't ibang mga dashboards. So this is, for example, the dashboards that we've done for the city of Isabela, Kawayan, Isabela. You can look at the different indices, air quality, transport index, demographic ng population, resilience to epidemic. During the time when we were doing this project, critical ang epidemic resilience, other components, transport system. And one of the questions that they ask us is if they create a new city center, nilipat nila yung munisipyo, how will this impact the entire Kawayan City? So with proper tool, these are things that you can validate, no? Just to give you some of the use cases na meron kami nun, for example, isang realization namin nun, mas effective kaysa mag-quarantine ka, na i-close mo lang itong specific bridge na to, no? Alikaw-kaw bridge. At ang pag kinlose mo siya, mas effective siya kaysa magkaroon ka ng mga selective na quarantine protocol. And you can do the simulation, so verify this actually. And they have done this under the leadership of then Mayor Bernard D. Or we have created mobility indices for both Kawayan and Baguio City. They follow Pareto distribution. Again, very few origin to destination pairs are critical for the observed traffic. And that is less than 5% of the OD pairs account for the 90% of the traffic. And with proper understanding of the science, we will be able to prevent the so-called phantom traffic jams. Phantom po ang tawag sa traffic jams kapag nangyayari siya, hindi dahil masyado ng maraming sasakyan, nangyayari pa rin yung traffic kahit konti ang sasakyan dahil sa mga iba't ibang transient activities that is happening on the road. No? Maybe there will be construction, maybe there is an accident, etc. So we can make a forecast of what will be the impact of any of this disturbance, specifically in a third world, in a low middle income economies like the Philippines, where these Baguio and Kawayan cities are located. And same thing, no? We build visualization tools po. Ito yung visualization tools na makikita ninyo sa command center ng Baguio. I think the command center of the Baguio is one of the best, if not the best, command center na nakita ko sa Pilipinas, where this is just some of the things that you can see there, the tourist numbers, prediction of the tourism at any point in time, and many other things, no, including water quality. You will see the relative water quality at any point in time, air quality, what will be the impact of this air quality, together with urban carrying capacity that we can measure daily. Ano ang stress level ng Baguio in daily pero yun, hindi lang yung mga sensors na dineploy namin ang ginamit din namin ang mga satellite data that we can access every day, no? So this is just some of that example. And ito po, ilan po ito sa mga naka-deploy na ngayon sa Baguio, yung foot traffic at any area, and how the foot traffic in one area eventually translates to mobility indices, no? to the traffic congestions and safety, public health, and you can do a lot of business analytics as a result of this. Okay, and some of the results that was first reported because of the data that we got from Baguio, we have deployed more than 588 sensors in Baguio, includes understanding kung gaano katagal nag-i-stay ang pollution, etc. sa Baguio. Okay, and this, for example, no, na-realize namin when we discuss with Mayor Magalong kung paanong kapag nagkaroon ng ulan, may mga nag-o-open ng septic tank, nako-compromise ang water quality ng ibang residente, ng ibang barangay, hindi lahat, ng Baguio City. So sometimes hindi kailangan ng malalim na data science. What you need sometimes is just monitoring the data per se. And this is again the thing that I've been mentioning. No? We can exactly understand what is the impact to the air quality, the traffic quality, and the economy, kasi this is normally a trade-off. If there will be events and holidays, economy will be better. Less than 10% or 9.23% of the population will be compromised in terms of what they need to do. But air and traffic will be worsened. Air quality especially. No? So we were able to do this in a daily resolution. So very daily resolution, we can know the urban carrying capacity of a city like Baguio. And finally, let me mention that because of all of the things that we are doing here, we are trying to become the thought leader, okay, in understanding urbanization in lower to middle income economy. So these are just some of the selected publications that we have on urbanization in developing countries, published in a top-tier journal. We produce data scientists that is now part of Kawayan and Baguio, And some of these publications allows Dr. Marisa Lipunhay to get a PhD in data science degree, the first PhD data science degree in the country and among the very first in ASEAN. So to conclude and close my presentation, give me 4 minutes to actually show the video that we've made for the Project Minerva, specifically in Baguio City. Bill, sorry, can you check kung maririnig ba yung presentation?
No volume.
No? Sorry.
No volume.
Let me just reshare it.
Yeah, reshare it with sound.
Sound, Okay. How about now?
Yep.
Good?
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
So this is the last part of my presentation. Thank you.
Say Baguio is beset with pests, aging, overpopulation, and a dwindling number of pine trees. How are we targeting these with the rehab effort? Baguio Mayor Benjamin Magalong announced a series of actions during a press briefing to mitigate the gastroenteritis outbreak in the city.
When I became mayor of the city of Baguio, the first thing what I did was to scan the environment. So I learned that there was actually a study that was made by NEDA sometime in early 2019. They brought in a group of experts on environment, on infrastructure, and turned out that it was actually an urban carrying capacity study. And according to that study, urban decay was actually happening in the city of Baguio. And according to experts, if on a do-nothing scenario, if nothing will be done to address urban decay in the next 25 years, then definitely urban decay and its effect will be irreversible. We need data. We have to identify saan may mga lugar. And the only way to do that is through technology. Here comes Minerva offering us this system. I won't miss it. I will never miss it.
As a data scientist alumni of AIM, first I'm trying to explain to them the importance of data governance. And by letting them understand first the importance of data, that's the time we try to train them on how to analyze and interpret this data. Even though it is ambitious, I know that it is possible. It just have to lay foundations. And the first thing that we've done is create the infrastructures.
In 2022, we came up with the Department of Science and Technology to launch Project Minerva, which stands for Monitoring of Indicators for Efficient Redevelopment and Value Assessment. This initiative, powered by complexity science, data science, and artificial intelligence or AI, focuses on 4 key areas critical for the city. Air pollution is 1, water quality 2nd, urban mobility, and tourism demand. We have deployed 588 sensors for monitoring and data collection. We developed AI-powered predictive models for various environmental factors and created a visualization dashboard to help Baguio make data-driven decisions as a leading smart city. We also trained LGU staff in sensor and data management and even produced a data scientist who graduated with top honors from AIM to assure the sustainability of the project.
We need to therefore make an integration between the resources available from the government, and that is through research and development, and also integrating the many data sets that are existing in our cities and localities. So the smart cities is a way for us to integrate all of these technologies as well as the resources available, the data resources available from the cities themselves.
It will be easier for us to convince the council that we need to improve in this area, that because of what the findings that we've had. And it's not just, I think we need something like this just because you thought of. So at least we are approaching it in a scientific way.
Project Minerva can contribute to that goal by laying foundations, because as early as now, like 2024, we can now know how to do proper data gathering.
Okay, this is called an Atmo tube, and it's connected to my smartphone. You press this button over here, and it shows you the air quality in the area that you're in within the city.
Meron pong kinabit sa akin na GPS tracker. So, okay naman, marami siyang matutulungan. Okay, malalaman niya kung nasaan yung traffic at saka yung aksidente at kung ano yung mangyayari sa driver. Naniniwala po ako na makakatulong po ito dito sa Baguio.
I think Project Minerva is very helpful for the progressing and developing of a smart city that the city is vying for.
Yes, it's a big help. You know? It provides decision makers from the national government a level of confidence that we are doing things right in the city of Baguio.
At the Asian Institute of Management, our commitment to innovation goes beyond personal merit. We strive to make a meaningful impact, all for the spirit of nation building, for a better Philippines.
So with that, maraming salamat po.
Wow, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for a great
Bill.
presentation. And the video is a perfect introduction for our last speaker of the day. But Chris, there's going to be a lot of questions for you later. I can see it coming in, and I have a few of my own. But let's move on to our main speaker. There's a great introduction to him, Mayor Benji Magalong of Baguio City. He's a retired police director general, spent over 38 years of service in the PNP. After retirement, he went into the private sector, and then after a few years in the private sector, has gone back in, started a public career in politics with the goal to rehabilitate and revive the city of Baguio. So among the mayor's platforms are speeding up government services, responsible tourism, revitalizing the environment, effective traffic management, and expanding health and social services. And here to discuss lessons he learned and potential lessons, I guess, for other cities from Project Minerva, it's my pleasure to welcome also a regular back to Liveable Cities Labs, Mayor Benji Magalong. Mayor Benji, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sir Bill. And let me first greet Mayor JCD, Dr. Chris, Miss Jeneline, and of course, Mr. Senthil Kumar. Thank you very much, Sir Bill, for having me today. And let me proceed directly to my briefing. By the way, I won't be briefing you only on Minerva, but also on the digitalization initiatives of the city of Baguio. So on behalf of the city of Baguio and its people, I would like to thank all of you for allowing us to share our journey toward becoming the first smart city in this country. And our decision to transform Baguio into a smart city is aligned with our strategic direction of becoming a smart, green, and sustainable city, with the ultimate goal of improving the urban quality of life of our citizens. And more importantly, we aim to leverage technology not only for the sole purpose of achieving a smart city status, but to translate it into addressing climate change and achieve net zero. In light of all the technological advancement, the question now is, when do we call it a city? When do we call a city a smart city? First, we must strengthen citizen protection by utilizing technology to enhance security measures and disaster preparedness. Should manage mobility, traffic, and facility efficiently by employing technology for traffic management and optimizing public facilities. We have to analyze urban conditions with big data by utilizing big data analytics to understand urban conditions and make informed decisions. Again, we have to generate revenue for sustainability by implementing innovative approaches to maintain smart systems. And finally, to team up with citizens for active participation by encouraging active involvement of citizens in city planning and governance. In essence, we must be efficient in delivering government services to the people, especially to those who need them most. Now allow me to present a short profile of our city. Baguio is popularly known as the summer capital of the Philippines due to its cold climate. Baguio was originally designed for 25 to 30,000 people. However, with rapid urbanization, our population has already reached 378,000. Our daily population is about 650,000, and our annual growth rate is 1.54%. It has a land area of 57.49 square kilometers. Our city, admittedly, is facing development challenges that need to be solved and major urban problems that have surmounted. In 2019, based on a study, we found out that urban decay as early as 1990 was already happening in the city of Baguio. The city faces the strain of accommodating a growing population, which puts pressure on infrastructure, service, and resources. We have reached the carrying capacity threshold of our urban road area in 1988. The standard allocation of 40 square meters per person is now only at 20 square meters. With limited land available, the city must carefully manage its land resources to balance development, preservation of green spaces, and meeting the needs of various sectors. Our open spaces started diminishing in 2008. On waste management, in 1994, solid waste collection exceeded the 52,000 metric ton capacity, and now we're hitting 95,000. And we're spending about 230 million a year just to bring our garbage to Tarlac or in Capas Tarlac. With increasing urbanization comes the challenge of managing traffic efficiently to reduce congestion, improve safety, and enhance mobility for residents and commuters. Urbanization often leads to increased pollution levels, stemming from vehicular emissions, industrial activities, and other resources. Addressing air quality issues is also crucial for safeguarding public health and our environment. Aside from these developmental challenges, our city confronts climate-related hazards. On landslides, geographical factors such as terrain stability can make certain areas prone to landslides, posing risk to infrastructure inhabitants. 78% of the city's surface is vulnerable to landslides. Baguio is among the cities in the entire Philippines that receive the highest rainfall, causing the occurrence of flooding mainly in low-lying areas, despite the fact that we are the highest city in the entire country. And that is why we have developed a net zero roadmap with a clear and concise overview of what we envision for Baguio. And with the use of AI information and technology, we'll be able to address these problems and increase operational efficiency, manage resources, recognize the needs of our people for solutions to evolve with time, and in return, improve the quality of government services and citizens' welfare. And despite all these challenges and the setback brought about by the pandemic, our city gathered more resolve to become a smart city by 2027. Of course, not everything came out of the blue. The establishment of our smart city system involves utilizing the building blocks in a cohesive and integrated manner. With the help of former President Rodrigo Duterte, the 200 million worth Smart City Command Center was realized and inaugurated in September 2021. The Smart City Command Center runs on Cisco technology and involves collecting, analyzing, and using large amounts of data from various sources. Furthermore, the Smart City Command Center enhances the city's ability to adapt and respond to climate-related challenges, making it an integral part of our resilience strategy. This also serves as a smart city hub that integrates and consolidates all the digital data and system applications, including the air quality monitoring, flood early warning system, air quality monitoring, and others. In 2022, we launched Project Minerva, a partnership between AIM, UP Baguio, and the DOST. The project's ultimate goal is to have a data hub-driven prediction and monitoring models for air quality, water supply, urban mobility and tourism, integrated into a smart city index and visualization platform. A comprehensive training program on air quality sensor data was conducted aiming to equip personnel from selected barangay halls, police stations, and health centers with the necessary skills for effective analysis and visualization of such data. We are working closely with the Asian Development Bank under the Asian Australia Smart Cities Trust Fund and implemented by Rumble Denmark in putting up our flood early warning information and mitigation system, or FUSE. This aids decarbonization by reducing GHG emission through timely flood warnings that enable efficient evacuation and traffic management. Currently, we have installed 10 weather sensors along rivers to monitor rainfall volume, providing a 48-hour predictive capability. In addition, CCTVs and IoT boxes are deployed to complement the flood early warning system. This application will gather real-time weather data, providing us with tailored forecasts and alerts. What you're seeing now is the integration of all diverse systems into a centralized dashboard. And this allows our command center operators to efficiently manage operations without the need to access multiple platforms for their daily tasks. This platform has helped us not only to streamline all our different services, but also to create a foundation for us to bring in additional new services and applications and systems to enhance the operational efficiency of the city. To decongest the central business district, where most businesses are located, the growth node development framework is being developed for economic activities to thrive, but it will remain as the prime commercial institutional center. We are planning to have an intelligent transformation system, or what we call the Smart Mobility and Transportation System. 2 years ago, we crafted our Smart Mobility Master Plan through the help of the Singaporean government through ST Engineering. Today, this year, we hopefully will be the implementation. As our battle cry to make, and once we implement it, this year, our battle cry would be, we're going to make private cars irrelevant in the city of Baguio. Quite ambitious. We're working with ST Engineering and Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation of Mr. Manny Pangilinan in the implementation of our Smart Mobility Master Plan. We developed a digital twin of the city. A digital twin is a dynamic, up-to-date virtual model of the physical assets of the city. And this virtual environment shall be the platform where planning, decision-making, and community engagement for the future will take place for us to create livable communities and eventually achieve our objective of creating a livable city. With a digital twin, citizens can view and interact with the proposed development goals of the city, how transportation and mobility shall provide the necessary connection at the fastest and most comfortable mode, and how economic development shall spread not only within the city, but also to its neighboring municipalities and regions, and creating livable communities. The digital twin can be incorporated with a layer on the type, magnitude, and diversity of business enterprises in the city. The city development framework can thus use this information to guide businesses and entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs support to its citizens as well as to its investors. The Baguio My Pocket is a government application that will offer, or governance application that will offer digital access to government services, transactions, and cashless payments. We envision that soon it will be able to support transactions, emergency and calamity notifications, as well as real-time information dissemination. Through this application, we will also be able to use the Paleng QR page program of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Baguio was selected as the pilot city or the sandbox because of our smart system in the presence of the BIMP digital platform. All our efforts in the field of digitalization were rewarded when we received a total of 6 major awards for digital governance. We want to transform Baguio from the business as usual standard, develop it into a smart, sustainable, and innovation, and at the same time, a resiliency and innovation hub. Now that we have entered the age of transformation, we must always have foresight and look ahead and make Baguio a future-ready city. Aside from our external stakeholders, we had to generate the support and buy-in of the entire citizenry. Success can be fast-tracked with the full commitment and active participation of everyone in the city. A smart city improves the interaction and engagement of citizenry with the government. It allows for the top-down, side-by-side, or side-to-side and bottom-up exchange of thoughts and objectives. As we always say, smarter is more responsive and for a livable city. We don't want just to be a smart city. We also want to be a connected city, and a truly connected city in which every citizen is connected and every citizen is able to benefit from this vision. There's inclusivity, there's creativity in our smart city. Baguio City would be driven by the following five core values in our journey to realize our vision to become a smart city by 2027. We should have a secured environment. We should promote sustainability. Another is efficiency. We have to provide, our system should be community centered. And finally, we have to improve the lifestyle and quality of life of our citizens. All this would not have been possible if they were not built on a platform of good governance. We need to exercise prudence and assert once again that city leaders should be fair and responsible with high standards for ethics and integrity and with recognition of full transparency and accountability. And more importantly, this drives public trust in government. People are more inclined to support our policies, rules, and projects and pay their taxes if they trust government. As we emphasize, trust is a cornerstone of any institution. We have entered into the age of innovation as we need to adapt to the fast-paced world of digital transformation. We must always remain vigilant and proactive on how we can become a globally competitive city. I'm proud to share with all of you that there's no room for corruption in the city of Baguio. And because of this, investors, foreign officials, and the national government have remained committed to investing in the city because they believe that good governance genuinely exists in the city. Good governance is the right way forward, especially for a challenging future. Good governance goes beyond traditional politics. It's not only focused on fighting corruption. It's about empowerment, inclusiveness, dynamism, community participation, authentic leadership. That is why I'm starting a network among local chief executives who firmly believe in these principles of good governance. I hope that this will soon become a powerful movement and evolve into a pandemic or similar to a COVID-19 virus, become contagious, become infectious, become transmissible so that we will be able to infect other local government units. We are stewards called upon to create a legacy that we can proudly pass on to the next generations. In our lifetime, we will not be able, I'm sure, we will not be able to experience and see firsthand what we all have in vision. But definitely, our children and our children's children will. Let us dedicate everything that we do for them. That is why, aside from being an advocate for good governance, I'm also very passionate about youth leadership and empowerment. We need to invest in our youth now more than ever. How then can we lead by example if we are caught up in our own personal gain? We must recognize the fact that the youth are the rightful leaders of this country. With any political decision, the youth should be involved. They should be allowed to lead. They should participate and allowed to participate in decision making. I have also made a stance that if there's anyone among our youth who will emerge as a leader, probably in the next 11 months, then I, as the mayor of Baguio, is willing to step down to allow this young leader to run and lead the city. So as we engage in today's activities, may we be inspired and remain reminded that we are not only working for small change, we are targeting unprecedented change. We are targeting digital transformation to create a smart government, a smart city, and a smart Baguio people. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Mabuhay.
Wow, thank you very much, Mayor Benji. Beautiful, beautiful talk, and I'm sure many people were inspired, especially young people. And I think people may not have expected uh, your strong closing focused on good governance and transparency and accountability. But I really think that that's it's central, I think, to being part of a smart city and using all that data, but using that data for good. And I like your message that it's a politics of hope that you're trying to push. So thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor Benji. Uh, I'd like to thank all our speakers, and I'd like to open up our um, session, to the open forum, and let's have all three speakers on board. Uh, Mayor Benji, unfortunately, Mayor JC suddenly had to canceled because the president was visiting Kawayan, and so we're going to have to get Mayor JC back at a future date. But thank you very much to Mayor Benji, to Chris, and to Jenny. And we'd like to open up the panel discussion. Uh, let's start, I guess. I know, Mayor, you've got some time constraints because you're running off to do an inspection in your in your city. So let me start with you, Mayor. I think you raised an important point: how to get your residents, your citizens behind you on the project. I mean, it must have taken some uh, explaining. Was there any resistance when you told people, I want to embark on this project to create a smart city and, make it more livable and sustainable? Did you get any pushback from your residents?
Yeah, definitely, definitely, Bill, Sir Bill. Unang-una, we have a lot of opposition, especially from my fellow political leaders. They claim that it's too expensive, it's too expensive to maintain such a system. But when explained to them everything, all the all the nuances of the smart city, and then embark on a very intensive and extensive community engagement, especially with the stakeholders. Then slowly they were able to grasp the real objective of of our vision to become a smart city. And right now we have been bringing large groups of people to our command center, explaining to them all the different systems that are actually integrated in that single platform. And everybody really appreciates it, especially the aspect of response, the aspect of resiliency, innovation. And one thing, well, what we did also, Sir Bill, is that we made sure that the innovation hub is beside our smart city command center. So they can see that a lot of young people are actually there, and young people are our partners in promoting the smart city system. So we're getting a lot of help now. Unlike in the past, like probably when we started it in 2021, September 2021, when only few people really appreciate the concept of a smart city.
Mhm. Yeah. So, Mayor, I mean, I was going to raise the question about the expense. You had an initial investment that you had to make to create a smart city, but I think it's one thing that you did that is, which Chris pointed out, which I think is very instrumental in your success and sustainability, is that you have uh, people on your staff who are graduates of AIM, graduates of data science, and I believe PhDs, no, Chris, in data science, or at least masters. Uh, how did you how did you get that done? Did you sponsor them, or is it just by accident, or did you encourage people to apply? And did Chris give them inducements to go to AIM? So, I mean, that's really a part of the secret sauce here, I think.
Well, Sir Bill, the first thing is there was a lot of opposition from the city council when they found out they were going to spend about 5 million or about 4 million just to send this one guy to AIM. When we explained to the city council the benefits of it and the upsides of having one guy to take extensive training at the AIM, and the return of investment, then the city council probably just one session approved the budget. So we would like to thank Dr. Chris here for inviting us and for offering us this opportunity. So we have this guy now, he's back. And all the learnings that was derived from that training, he's now applying it in the city of Baguio. And we have improved a lot. We have improved our our system on our bidding system. We have improved on project monitoring. We have improved further several systems in our command center. We are now into a very ambitious project. We call it Project Mapanan, wherein we are now accurately improving all these defects in our mapping system, digitalized map. Are you aware that the data that were being provided by Google Map, Bing Map, OpenStreetMap are actually inaccurate, and we have seen that. And we have our graduate from AIM taking the lead, and probably one of these days, we would like to show it to everyone because we want this to be perfected, and then we're going to share it with the other local government units because actually these maps that are being used, taken from Google Maps, are being used by the different departments, not only by Baguio City, but by the other local government, probably by the other government agencies, and they're using inaccurate maps. Can you just imagine? For tax mapping, for the comprehensive land use plan, and for the planning of their infrastructure, and using inaccurate map, meaning it will translate to inaccurate planning as well. So we're going to share it with them free, but give us time, probably give us more, about 4 months or probably 5 months more, and then definitely we're going to share it with you, and you'll be you'll be amazed on the progress of this. We have actually someone from Netherlands who's helping us, a very young person from Netherlands,
No,
and
that
we're
that
getting a lot also in terms of headcount, manpower. We're getting a lot from our universities.
that's great, the mayor. So I think, yeah, I mean, for those of you out there, especially other LGUs who are in the audience today, and there are quite a number, uh, yeah, that maybe is a warning that's well worth listening to, which is the accuracy of the maps that you're using. But I think the uh, key decision to send someone at graduate school study level in data science and then to have that person come back and work for you is a great return on investment to keep your project running. So I think that's a plus. And I think the ability to attract more youth and university students to help, of course, and the foreign assistance is always welcome. But the important thing is to get local assistance. So congratulations, Mayor, on that. Uh, okay, you mentioned, of course, that you had a bit of resistance and pushback from your opposition in the council. Any other significant barriers or challenges? People are not used to data. Uh, a data-based approach is almost like a foreign language in some communities. So data is important. How were you able to convince people to use accurate data?
Okay, first thing is, when we explain to them that many of our plans were based on irrelevant data, outdated data. And we showed them samples of it. And that's the reason why during the implementation stage, we cannot actually derive the desired output or outcome. So we showed it to them, in terms of, planning for our urban forestry management, even our comprehensive land use plan, when we showed it to them that it was based on inaccurate data. In fact, on irrelevant data for that matter. And so the reason why, and we showed them pictures of what happened to the city. And then that finally convinced them that it's about time. It's about time that every strategic solution, every strategic plan should be science-based, should be data-driven.
I think one of the most interesting uh, activities you did, Mayor, is uh, between yourselves and AIM, Chris's team, you were able to put sensors on taxis and jeepneys. Now, uh, did they welcome getting sensors, or were they a little suspicious about getting sensors, or did they eventually say, "Hey, I get it. Uh, I'll do it because it's going to help me and it's going to help you"?
Well, the first reaction was that they were curious, and next is there was suspicion, but they explained to them the system, and it's just a matter of having that very constructive stakeholders engagement, and make sure to explain to them basically the objective and the bigger picture, what's going to happen. Then people are very cooperative. We never had any difficult time convincing people to cooperate with us or collaborate with us.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And I think the use of sensors. It's relatively it's not a widespread practice yet. I think in cities, especially mobile sensors, where like what Chris, in your video where you showed the person with the air quality sensor, if you press the button,
Mhm.
and you get a reading. So those are not sort of commonly used instruments in cities. Is there a way to roll it out to more cities and teach cities how to use the data, to measure air quality, measure water quality, measure movement, things like this?
Thank you, Bill. No, actually, Mayor Magalong is being humble nung sinabi niya na madaling magpadala ng mga ganong sensors. Because our experience is that it takes a charismatic and very articulate mayor to be able for that to happen. No, our experience, the reason why we have chosen Baguio is essentially because of Mayor Magalong's will to make this happen and to properly articulate the value of doing this. Yun din po yung reason kung bakit ginawa namin to sa Kawayan Isabela. Previous mayor, Mayor Bernard D, has been very supportive of the things that we are doing for the city. And I'm expecting, Bill, that this type of sensors can be made cheaper, mainly because of our AI, and can be made less intrusive to the general population in the very near future. And maybe these sensors, actually, most of them, nakalagay na yan sa mga smartphones natin. No? It's just a question of eventually making sure that we can consistently understand yung mga baseline at yung mga things that it is measuring, which I believe group of Inquiro is they should be very good at this in this moving forward.
Go ahead,
just
Mayor.
Sir Bill, sometimes it's funny, because we are measuring actually the air quality of places outside of Baguio, because we found out that many of those handling the different sensors are actually going out of the city of Baguio and forgot to leave behind the city of Baguio. So we're measuring air quality of Lawag, La Union, Pansin, and Metro Manila.
Tapos may mga ibang nakikita naming Bill, minsan pag naninigarilyo yung may hawak-hawak ng sensor, na-perturb yan. But those are some of the things that we learn how to handle properly now because of these projects.
Mayor, in terms of, I have two questions here. One is, what motivated you to get started to begin with? Because this is a very big project and a very big step forward for any city. So what motivated you? And second, now that you've built your data center, are you storing all your data on site? Are you storing it on the cloud? And since you have such a nice data center, is it as simple as another city copying your platform and then collecting data like you did, and measuring their city, creating their city dashboard? Is it something that you're going to share, like your maps?
Well, good question, Sir Bill. The first thing is people ask how much, what's the cost? And when we mention the cost, then that actually discourages them to pursue a very comprehensive smart city command platform. So we mentioned to them that we have our own learnings. Sometimes probably they can just come up with standalone systems. Meantime, they don't have to come up with the platform that integrates all these systems. Standalone systems, probably cheaper, and we're willing to share also our own experiences to them so that they will not entail unnecessary cost. Because we have experienced that. We are the first mover. One thing about being a first mover is we are always the first learners as well. It's nice to be the last mover or the second mover, third, because you always learn from the first mover. So we're willing to share our experiences with them. And a lot of LGUs are actually visiting our Smart City Command Center. In fact, siguro average of about 3 or 4 in a week. We have a lot. Surprisingly. It's one of the most, and other companies, even Aboitiz came over, and they were really, and when they found it out, when they saw it, they were really amazed and they were really impressed that they got immediately in touch with the proponent of that command center, or with Cisco. So we're getting a lot of visitors coming from different companies as well, and from the private sector, even secretaries, national jail, ASEC, USECs, senators, some congressmen come over to see, and mayors come to see our work at the center. So, and they're promoting it as well. In fact, one secretary, every time they come over, pagbalik niya doon sa kanyang department, you visit the city of Baguio. Visit niyo yung Baguio City. Tingnan niyo yung system. And even the Secretary of Interior Local Government, the previous Secretary of the Interior Local Government, and no less than Secretary Chodoro, binibigyan niya ng instruction yung mga tao niya na puntahan niyo yung Baguio at tingnan niyo doon and learn from their experiences.
Mayor, when you got it funded, so I have a couple of questions from the funding. Is how much did the project cost, and what is it going to be, to operate annually to keep it going? But more importantly, is what is the source? Is it a city budget? Is it a part of a national budget? Is it a mix, or is it a completely external budget that's helping you? Let's say foreign agencies or grants, or is it some sort of mix that you have? Because I think for cities to attempt this, they're going to have to figure out how to blend all this money together to achieve what you've done.
Well, give me about 2 minutes to explain everything to the right, because it's a bit funny. First thing is when I won the election, I was not yet. I haven't taken my oath yet. The president came over. I worked with the president when he was still mayor. When I was in CIDG and was series of operation, anti-drug operation and anti-criminality operations in Davao. So we became a bit close friends. And the first thing that he did was call for me and he said, bakit hindi ka magtayo ng 911 yan? Pupondohan ko. Sabi ko, sir, thank you very much po. So after about 3 months, sinabit ko lahat yung mga requirements. So I went to China. I went to one of the #1 smart city in China, Hangzhou. And then I was really impressed with the smart city. So we decided na bakit yung 911 gawin na lang namin smart city. So the big issue here is the cost, the challenge. And then one day, pinatawag ako ni Presidente because of the issue that I raised against the highest official in National Police regarding his involvement in drugs. You probably heard about the sanity ring. Pinatawag niya ako, sabi niya sa akin, 4 lang kami, ako si Senator Bongo, si Aaron Aquino, Pidea, and then explain to him everything. Pagkatapos nung nagkwentahan kami, naniwala na rin siya sa akin after 10 minutes. Siguro mga almost 1 hour din kami nagkwentuhan. Pagtayo niya, sabi niya, meron po ba kayong problema? Tapos sabi ko sa kanya, sir, natatandaan niyo yung promesa niyo sa akin 911. Bakit? Nasaan yung pera? Ibigay na ba sa yung pera? Wala pa nga, sir. Pero pwede ba, sir, natin na instead na 911 lang, pwede ba natin, sir, na i-level up na, gawin na nating smart city, and that would be one of your legacies sa Baguio. Magkano ba yan? Sir, 200 million. Mahal pala, sabi niya. Bong, bigyan mo na 200 million. After 3 weeks, nandiyan na si Senator Bongo. Tina-turn over na sa akin yung 200 million. Sometimes get when the president trusts you, he's willing to part with a big amount of money because he knows that, you're going to spend it efficiently and with all transparency and accountability. And that's probably the reason. Now, the cost of maintaining it, of course, you have to maintain 16 people. It's a bit expensive. We're spending about 25 million pesos probably a year to maintain it. Iba pa yung mga gastusin pa namin sa subscription. Ito na, mag-uumpisa na yung mga subscription niyan, mga different systems. But we can manage because we are now embarking on a smart mobility transportation system. And the revenue that we'll be able to generate from that system, from the implementation of that, is more than enough to cover it. In fact, siguro baka ang gagastusin of the projected revenue, siguro mga 5% lang doon ang gagamitin namin to maintain our smart city. So we're okay. And besides, yung sa amin is hindi siya chop suey. It's a single platform. So it's very robust, very stable.
You're one very, very lucky mayor to have a project sponsor willing to give you that much. Do you foresee a time, Mayor, when this will be funded uh, somehow as part of a, I don't know, combination national budget, the GAA and maybe city budgets, so that other cities can follow through and copy what you or Kawayan Isabella have done?
Yeah, probably yes. We're getting a lot of grant actually, Sir Bill. We're getting a grant. For example, for the flood water mitigation warning system, that's about 30 million pesos, translated from dollar to 30 million. We did not pay for it. When Australian government found out that there's a city in a third world country aspiring for to become a smart city, immediately they got in touch with ADB. And then they mentioned that, oh, okay, we're willing to fund a flood water mitigation warning system for the city of Baguio. That's 660,000 US dollars. And it's a grant. Now,
nice.
we're now we're waiting for the start of our capacity and capability building on resiliency. To transform Baguio into a resiliency hub. That's a 3-year capacity building. And again, that will also entail digitalization. Another is we're getting a capacity building grant from WIGO, World Sustainable Cities. It's a 3-year grant from Seoul, Korea, again, for us to develop our AI capability. And another is grant again for e-learning. So we're getting a lot of help. And that's the beauty of being the first mover for the smart city.
That's
And
true. But Mayor, there's a saying that the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think you are exactly the personification of that, because you work so hard, you just, not out of sheer luck, but because of your hard work. Many people come and support you, aside from the fact that you're a first mover. But I have one last question before I let you go. I know you've got to go and inspect some projects in Baguio.
just answer your question about Minerva.
Sure. Okay.
When Minerva was presented to me and I saw the concept, the first thing that came to my mind is, I'm not going to miss this. I'm going to grab this opportunity. Na huwag natin palampasin yan, huwag nang mapunta yan sa iba. Kunin natin yan. Maski na may counterpart tayo yan, kunin natin yan. Sayang yan. Kaya thank you very much, Chris.
Welcome, sir. My pleasure and honor.
The Mayor, since you're the first mover, presumably you might have made a few missteps or mistakes. Is there anything you would do differently now that what was involved in putting this together? What would you do differently, if anything?
Yeah, probably one is bring in the right people. Bringing in the right people. It's about attracting the right talents. Diyan kami nag-umpisa din. Sometimes you bring in people whom you know, but they are not actually the right talents. So one is bring in the right talents from the very start. Bring in the right people. So yan, I think. Again, another is leadership in the smart city. You have to make sure that you have what's this? A dynamic. I would prefer young people to head the smart city. We have one guy, the first person who headed that. The good news is he was able to, develop an understudy before he turned it over. So he did a great job training a particular young guy, and we have, one person by the name of Adam Lakay, who's now is the head of the smart city system or smart city command center, and he reports directly to Francis Cameron, studied in AIM. Another is you cannot just simply be so gullible with all different types of systems because of it will entail cost. Especially, it's so attractive only to find out that every year you have to spend so much on subscription. So this time you have to let us say, practice due diligence also. You cannot be so gullible.
I see Jenny nodding her head here in full agreement.
Like for
I will
example,
get back to you later, Jenny.
for example, yung aming digital twin, there were several vendors who were selling to us their own digital twin systems, only to find out that us at our level we can actually do a in-house digital twin system. And again, we're perfecting it. It's a work in progress, but we're already using it to create these livable cities. We've been extensively using it for the amendment or revision of our comprehensive land use plan. Once we will be able to really package it very well, improve further the systems. Then again, we're willing to share it for free to the other local government units.
Yeah, that's the question I was going to ask is, you know, how much of it can you share with other local governments? And how safe is your data also? I mean, is it on the cloud or you keep it all on site? Because I mean, data security and reliability is going to be an issue, I guess, over time.
I cannot guarantee the full security of our system. Cannot. But we're making sure that all our firewalls, our malwares are actually, or our anti-malwares are actually up to date. We're also sending some of our data to cloud. We don't have an offsite storage facility. We're still negotiating with the ICT. We're hoping that they will accommodate us in one of their data centers as well. So a lot of challenges. It's not easy to put up a smart city system. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to your presentation on what you've done, and on Chris's presentation of, what this can do for cities, and Inquiro's presentation, I think we appreciate it's not easy, but we also see that it's very doable. And when you make a decision like you did, Mayor, it things can get done, and it's actually amazing how fast you've moved, considering it's not been too many years since you started Project Minerva, and since I mean, just a few years ago, you had your hands full with contact tracing for COVID, and since then you've gone and created Baguio into started the creation of Baguio into a smart city. So our congratulations, Mayor, for that. It's really been amazing, actually, what you've done, and I think you will supervise others, other cities to be able to follow.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you very much, Sir Bill. I would like to endorse Project Minerva to the other local government units. Why? For example, ito malaking bagay ito sa amin. Every Sunday we pedestrianize session road, meaning for us to be able to reduce our carbon emission just a session road, because it's now the most criticized area because of the high carbon emission and pollution. So we decided that every Sunday we are going to pedestrianize it. But during the pedestrianization, there were a lot of oppositions coming from different sectors, from the transport sectors and from certain politicians, and from all other communities stating therein that it's creating traffic. So what we did was to present to them the data provided by Project Minerva, especially on air quality. We showed them about data on a daily basis. And then they found out, sabi nila, hindi naman pala bumaba yung wala rin palang effect. Ano ibig nyo sabihin? Wala namang effect dito sa Sunday na bumaba yung air quality natin sa Sunday. Sabi ko sa kanila, hindi naman po yung Sunday ang tinitingnan natin yan kasi may mga meteorological factors pa po yan. Meron pa po tayong papag-aralan dyan, mga meteorological data. But you look at Monday or Tuesday up to Wednesday, have you noticed yung trend niyan in all the other past weeks? Every Monday, starting Monday or Tuesday, downtrend, bumababa yan. Bumababa yung numbers. That only shows na very effective yung ating pedestrianization. So we would like, dahil doon sa mga sensors na binigay sa amin nila ng Project Minerva. So with that, we were able to convince our council to sustain yung programa na yun, pedestrianization ng ating ng ating session goal. And pati na rin yung siguro, isa siguro tatanungin nyo, why was it that we have all these monitors, sensors for air, water quality? Why is it that they were not able to detect yung outbreak, diarrhea outbreak? Sabi ko nga sa kanila, just like any system, yung mga malalaki pa nga dyan, yung mga Apples, yung mga Macintosh, yung mga kwan pa nga, yung mga Microsoft. Of course, they come up with certain softwares, but still meron pa nga silang upgrade di ba? Upgrade. Sabi ko nga, pag-explain ko nga yung WD-40 nga, which is one of probably of the most sellable item globally, it's some sort of a lubricant, but actually it's not a lubricant. Kaya nga tinawag na W40 because 40 times na nag-experiment bago nila na perfect. You cannot immediately perfect it one time during the first phase ng implementation. There are a lot of learnings, you derive a lot of learnings, and that lang learnings, you improve further the system. Kaya nga nag-recommend ako ng phase 2 niyan phase 2, and in principle, it was already approved. Kailan kami nag-meeting nila Dr. Chris together with Dr. Sulidong. And in principle, it was approved by Dr. Sulidong or by Secretary Sulidong. So we're going phase 2. Hindi ko alam kung gusto ni Chris pa rin sa Baguio yung phase 2. I hope sana sa
Baguio is a role model. And the goal, Mayor, really, hindi lang dapat siya Ang goal talaga namin dito, Bill, the science that we are putting here, yung mga natututunan natin, it is really showing global competitiveness nga. Indonesia can benefit a lot from the things that we are learning here, Vietnam, etc., and all the other cities, not just the Philippine cities.
Yeah. So anyway, Mayor, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation and for your time. I know you signaled, you told our staff that you might need to leave early to inspect some projects. So I wanted to get all the questions to you first. But thank you so much, and it's been an inspiration. And I hope Chris is up to taking up more work, not only in Baguio but in other cities. Chris, I think we're going to get a lot of cities. So let me shift to Jenny. I want to ask Jenny 2 questions. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks so much. Jenny, I want to ask you a couple of questions. One is a question here from the audience is, how does Inquiro collaborate with local governments, I suppose, governments and stakeholders to tailor solutions to a city's unique needs? And earlier you were talking about all this data that you track. So what's the source of the data? Is it what I think it is? Could you tell us how you get all this data to track movement of people?
Yeah. So we have several data partners that are sources of our data. These are qualified data and consented data. So the reason why I was nodding my head kanina dun sa mga sagot ni Mayor Magalong is because yun nga, it's really whenever you do a project, so for example, for us, whenever we do data partnerships, it's really doing the due diligence. So we do the due diligence so that we ensure that the data that we offer to our customers or clients are usable and quality data.
But the data itself, I mean, how was it picked up? I mean, because it's a lot of volume of data. And maybe like you, Chris, you in Singapore, you were tracking movement of people. I mean, tap in, tap out was one, but after they tap out, you could kind of see where they were going. So how do you track the data? Are you picking up data from phones to see where people are moving and congregating?
You're asking me, Bill?
Yeah, Chris and Jenny, actually, yeah.
So again, the more critical component is actually getting the right data. We refer to this as smart data. For many of the things na pinag-aaralan sa cities, Bill, most of these dynamics are referred to, ang jargon dito is tinatawag sila na NP polynomial problem, which means kahit gaano karami ang data na makuha mo, that will not be sufficient to actually sometimes understand completely. It's not enough to actually get all the possibilities still. They are not a representative of it. For example, pag ang data that you have is disruption, determining all the possible disruptions that can happen in a transport system. Madaming-madami yun, hindi pwedeng mangyari gaano katagal, saan mangyayari, etc. So one of the most critical component really, and this is where the AI will come in, is to make use that based on the data that you have, it will be sufficient enough to build a mechanism-based model, a model that allows you to describe the mechanism of the city. To us as a scientist, as a technologist, that is really the more important component to understand the behavior of people, the natural tendencies of an individual, and in the process, dun ka makaka-create ng mga what-if scenarios. And the data is there mainly to check, after some time, mainly to check whether the dynamics have actually changed over time. So yung mga ganong klase ng dynamism, kailangan proper ang science, proper ang understanding mo. So hindi lang siya kukolektahin mo yung data, kailangan naiintindihan mo properly yung science. And I'm happy with Mayor Bernard D. ang Kawayan at saka si Mayor Magalong. They are very diligent in trying to sit down with us to understand really the science of what we are doing.
Uh, Jenny, are there cities that are using your services at the moment, or do you have mostly corporate clients and you see cities as a potential area of work? I can see so much use for the
Mhm.
technology you have uh, for use in cities.
Yes. So we have this one partner, LGU, wherein they drive the awareness in terms of vaccination campaigns
Mhm.
during the pandemic. So to drive people to vaccination sites and profile who are send broadcast to people that haven't been vaccinated yet within the city. So that's one thing that we work with an LGU.
Mhm. And looking at cities, what advice would you give city planners who want to use or integrate AI technologies into their development strategy? Uh, what 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 would you tell them to convince them to give it a try, Jenny?
Yeah. So nakita naman natin 'di ba how it's benefiting Baguio. So much so that parang gusto ko na lumipat sa Baguio, yung gano'n. The way that mayor presented it, 'di ba, parang ang sarap tumira sa Baguio. So I think it's really more of like prioritizing what the specific city needs. So sabi nga ni Mayor kanina, hindi naman kailangan na full-blown agad, isang buong dashboard agad. So if the budget allows for a specific component lang, then you have to always rank your priorities. So ano yung mga current pain points of the city? So depending on the ranking of the priorities, ito, if we are able to address this, then like Doctor said earlier na with the Pareto principle, if we're able to address this specific, this is 20%, but it will answer 80% of our problems. So it's really starting small, but very targeted. So you have to know what's your objective, and then you have to know how to measure if okay ba? I mean, naging okay ba after implementing the project? So I always attack projects like that. So dapat alam mo yung ano yung priority mo, what's the most painful to your city, what will really help the city, and then um start small and then measure it after the implementation. Tapos para when you measure kasi you can optimize. So malalaman mo na um if it's working or not.
Mhm, mhm. Uh, Chris, you mentioned that you use a lot of sensors, uh, air and water sensors. Are you leaving the sensors behind in Baguio? Are they being redeployed somewhere else? How do people who want to use sensors, for instance, obtain more sensors and get your services either of Inquiro or AIM to help them analyze all the data?
Thank you for that question, Bill. Well, half of the sensors we committed to Mayor Magalang that we will retain it there. And we've been on constant discussion with the OST on what we're gonna do with other sensors, because there are many things that these sensors can solve, at napakita nga namin yung proof of concept, including among others, Bill, we plan to deploy this to one particular company. Imagine namin, because if you can put this in a company, sa some individuals in that particular company, malalaman mo yung journey nila going to work and outside work. And we conducted some AI analysis on what is the impact of the lifespan and personal health of different individuals in their daily commute, for example. With this information, together with the GPS track, you can actually create a satellite branch, or maybe for different companies, or even for different workers. Halimbawa, kung nagtatrabaho ka sa Makati, pwede ka palang maglagay ng satellite office sa Quezon City, and you will be able to improve the lifespan of your people by this much. So so those are some of the things that we're gonna be doing soon then. Imagine namin na ilan sa mga projects din namin na we can do. But yeah, we are committed to showcase Baguio to other LGUs as one of the term ninyo is intelligent cities that we would like to make sure na mapapakita natin in the national setting, and hopefully sa international community.
Mhm. Chris, what advice would you give to other city leaders
Mhm.
looking to adopt AI technologies based on Baguio City's experience with Minerva or Kawayan City's experience with Paturo?
So the one of the most critical component, definitely, Bill, is human resource. Building the right people, as Mayor mentioned, no, si Isko, who is now heading their MITD, is our graduate. Yung 5 million po na sinabi ni Mayor is actually hindi yun lang sa kay Isko. In fact, sa lahat po ng nakikinig na cities dito, I am super happy kung magpapadala po kayo ng mga data scientists dito. Yung tuition ninyo, we gonna AIM will cover 50% if needed, para makapagpadala po kayo ng mga matitrain nun, kasi this is for nation building overall, no? Less than 1/5 po nung 5 million na yun yung nagastos for training Isko. Ang ibang component po nun includes training the city of Baguio in general on data analytics, the use of sensors, and other components. So I think Bill, number one talaga that most critical here is having that right talent. Okay, who will be the caretaker of the system, and at the same time, since they are there, they are locals, they actually understands what are the pain points. Kasi katulad nga ng sinabi ni Jenny, the end of the day, dapat laging tanong mo pag gagastos ka ng ganito, what will be the ROI?
Mm-hmm.
Clear sa Baguio yung ROI kasi yung ERP system pa lang, give you an example, no? Na-realize nila may coding kasi sa Baguio, nakakahuli sila ng 30 to 40 na nagba-violate ng coding per day, and they have to pay 500 every coding. If you use AI na hindi sila sa kanilang system, 950 to 1,000. That's more than 30-fold. So 30, that number, more than 900, multiply that by 500, income yun immediately just for that particular system. So clear yung ROI. Baguio has a different problem compared to other LGUs. Main na problem ng Baguio ngayon as yung tinatawag nila na local irritability because of the tourist influx and all. They have 380,000 nighttime resident daily na umaabot ng 600,000 dahil sa tourists at saka sa mga workers, and it can go all the way to 1.2 million during the peak season. And then na-irritate yung local component, and when we look at it, yung urban carrying capacity, we realize that there are just areas that are actually compromised. No, mga konting barangay. Kaya with these sensors, you can actually customize what should be the policies that is not the same for all the other barangays. 98% ng barangay hindi naapektuhan ng mga tourists at saka ng influx ng workers. But there are very critical barangays na nararamdaman nila water quality, air quality has been compromised. So you have to be focused on those components.
They must be all around Session Road, maybe.
Yes. Every system, yeah.
Yeah, but Chris, the mayor brought up a point, and you mentioned it in your presentation. There's a time lag in the effect, that you see, the cause and effect of the pedestrianization and the effect of weather and wind, and even that you studied
Yeah.
on air quality in Baguio. Can you explain a little bit how that worked?
Oh yeah, we were surprised too. We have submitted this to Journal of Atmospheric Science, one of the top journals on that one, on that kind of thing, monitoring pollution sensor, and we are the first one to report how critical is it to understand meteorological condition in understanding the pollution level, that it can last up to 9 days. The impact of one day can last up to 9 days, especially in Baguio. So this particular components, yung causality ng pollution at saka anthropogenic, yung mga movement ng tao, um, properly understanding this, it has a lot of implication in many ways, lalo sa mga residente ng Baguio. Sa health ng mga bata, sa health ng... So for example, mas okay pala na pumasok sila ng Monday, Tuesday, tapos mataas ang impact pagdating ng Wednesday ng pollution, baka pwedeng work from home during that time kapag may mga major event. But at the same time, since we can measure the urban carrying capacity in a daily basis, very few cities in the world can do that. But we've seen na may mga proxies ang urban carrying capacity that we can get from satellite data, for example. All in all, lahat yan magiging part ng lahat ng mga policies na pwedeng i-develop specifically sa locality ng Baguio. Pero yun, the measurement, the science that we develop for that, ang tawag sa jargon, Bill, is cross-convergent mapping. You will be surprised na ang concept ng causality is a very difficult concept na ngayon open problem pa rin. And if we can be the thought leader in this particular dimension globally, prediction is super critical, understanding pollution is super critical. I really feel that we can sell this technology around the world. No? Wala naman pong, I'm now wearing my hat as as part of a business school. Kaya I don't agree minsan sa ibang idea ni Mayor na ibibigay niya ng free. Dapat may konting bayad para seryosohin, and at the same time, ito yung reason kung bakit ako binigyan ng Singapore dati ng $5,000 immediately to understand the recipes of a smart nation. Because the future, most critical source of wealth building in the future is really understanding cities. That is a given. No? If you understand how cities work, if you understand kasi generally maganda, di ba? Economy of scale, pupunta ka sa isang lugar. Pero economy of scale then, the pollution will be worse.
Yes.
And all of that. So if understanding that particular component, and if you can transfer that to other cities in the world, that will be one of the most profitable type of system and technology and insights that that can happen in the next few years.
Okay, so we just have a few minutes before we close, and I just want to give uh, our last two speakers maybe a minute or two to kind of, you want to leave a last message to the participants. Jenny, let me start with you. What would you like to impart to our participants, and remember, what's their takeaway from today?
Yeah, as I mentioned during my closing, diba? Now the question is to AI or not to AI. So, but really the answer is how you use it. So if we use AI for good, we use AI for nation building. So in our case, Inquiro can help help businesses within the cities increase or grow their businesses. Then that's gonna be part of the nation building. So if we use data and AI for good, then I think we have a brighter future ahead of us.
Thank you, Jenilyn, and Chris. What about you? Your last thoughts?
Oh, well, I guess at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is for our countrymen, the Filipino people, to have the opportunity to maximize their potential. And what I've shown you, yung graph na nakita natin kanina, while our HDI is generally increasing, there are individuals that we failed to protect. Yung level ng inclusiveness, we need to improve on such. Because in general, happiness is very relative. yung criminality, kung ano nagda-drive ng criminality, it is not the absolute value, but it is actually the inequality that persists in some components. So through technology, I hope we will be able to solve that through by understanding the proper science. Hopefully, we will be able to solve that. And yun po, me and my team, the AIM community, this has always been our advocacy to make sure that we will be able to maximize the use of our resources to proper science and proper technology. So yun po, that kind and make this world a better place and more inclusive.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'd like to thank our speakers today. Of course, Mayor Benji, who had to leave early, Dr. Chris Monterola, and Janelyn from Inquiro for sharing and being with us today so we can build more future-ready, intelligent cities, smart cities in the Philippines. We'd also like to thank our partners, Globe Telecom and the League of Cities in the Philippines, for helping us put together this lab. Let me close just by announcing that we're going to be running a series of local labs in partnership with USAID through the Urban Connect project. So local labs are going to be like the lab today, except it's localized to a specific city. And we're going to be doing 9 cities. And I can tell you that the first one is going to be May 8th in Zamboanga. If you're from Zamboanga, attend live. If you're not from Zamboanga, it's available on Zoom. And on June 5th, we will be broadcasting from Tagbilaran, Bohol. Same thing, it's hybrid, a live audience in Tagbilaran plus a Zoom and Facebook audience uh, or facility that's available for hybrid audiences. Uh, we're going to flash shortly, not yet, but we're going to give you the feedback form uh, for today's session. Important for us to get your feedback and for you to get your certificates if you need it. But before we do that, I want to flash just two very important things. The first I want to start is I want to flash uh, Jenny's QR code again. If we could put that on screen, I'd like to flash Jenny's QR code for those who want to uh, call on Inquiro for additional information. Do we have the QR code or
Yeah, thank you
maybe
so much, Bill. We're
Jenny,
working
you
on
might
it.
have it. Okay. And then at the same time, while we're working on flashing the QR code, let's also flash the Project Minerva site link for anyone looking to get information on Project Minerva. So Project Minerva had an official turnover April 15th, I believe, Chris,
Two days ago, yes, 2 days
days
ago.
ago in Baguio. And they have put up a Facebook link on Project Minerva. So for those of you who like to get information, I know we're getting a lot of requests about the presentations of Chris, of Jenny, and of Mayor Magalong, which we will put together. You have to email us for that, or email Chris, or email Janelyn. But let's post the Project Minerva site. And there it is. Let's post also um, the QR code. This is the QR code for Inquiro. And then Michan, if we can put up on a bigger screen the Project Minerva site. Okay, so everyone got this. This is Inquiro in case you need to reach out and contact uh, Jenelyn or the Inquiro team. They will be in touch with you directly when you sign up. So there's this special offer, uh, and the first 5 only will get. Maybe we already have the first 5. I'm not sure, but anyway, for what it's worth, please use that. Now, Michan, can we please post up the Project Minerva link?
They posted it in the chat box na rin.
There it is. Yeah, in the chat box, and this is the link. Okay, so please remember this because it's a number, not a. It looks like an IP address, not quite a name. But anyway, if you want more information, this is where you get information. And finally, let's post up the feedback form for today. We'd appreciate your feedback. I want to thank everybody for staying around and spending the afternoon with us. I hope you found it very useful, very inspiring for your work, whether you're from a city or an NGO or a national government agency, an academic community, or the private sector. We hope you find the session useful. In livable cities, one of our goals is to get people addicted to data. And after being addicted to data, then we hope that you will take the next leap forward and look at artificial intelligence, data science, and analytics to help you manage your cities better. So today, I think we got a lot of examples from Jenny, from Chris, from Mayor Benji on how they use data to manage a city. So thank you so much to our speakers. And of course, thank you to the audience for spending the afternoon with us. Hope to see you in our next lab or local lab. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks. Chris, thanks so much. Thank you. Jenny, thanks so much. That was excellent.
Data is always moving. How people think, feel, and behave change constantly, so our understanding needs to shift too, continuously evolving to keep you ahead. Inquiro is your window to entire audience landscapes and deeper consumer understanding, giving you quick insights, giving you actionable insights, giving you real-time insights on demand. It's a powerful platform that enriches your mastery of the market. The 360 Intelligence Dashboard and Audience Builder lets you explore a holistic overview and hone in on a specific audience. With the Credibility Scoring API, you can unlock your consumers' behavior through omni-channel touchpoints and measure their overall trustworthiness. Access insights into the Philippine population with precise market analytics using MarketScan. Beyond deepening your understanding, Inquiro amplifies your growth. Widen your scope, tap into countless profiles, and multiply your reach using Acquisition Suite. With Inquiro, you have a secure, easy-to-use platform. One platform, unlimited reach. One platform, all the answers. One platform, multiple insights. Learn more at info@inquiro.ph.
One business takes on many challenges. But when they're beyond what one can solve, it'll take more. Each one pitching in to form seamlessly linked solutions. And with a partner to innovate and collaborate, we can create better experiences than we ever could alone, to become more valued than we'd ever be on our own. Because there's nothing greater than working as one to make an impact in people's lives. Redefine our greatness. Globe Business.